For most of the first 8 events of the 2026 NHRA season, the question surrounding Jack Beckman was becoming uncomfortable to ignore. A 37-time funny car winner and 2012 world champion was sitting 6th in the standings without a single win, watching the results produce numbers that did not match the resume. Then came New England Dragway, a rain-delayed final round, and a Friday afternoon at Bristol that answered the loudest question of his season before Thunder Valley had even properly begun. Beckman opened the 2026 campaign with back-to-back first-round exits at Gainesville and Phoenix, losses to teammate Jordan Vandergriff and Daniel Wilkerson respectively, that left him 10th in the standings with 32 points after just 2 events. The car was inconsistent in ways that were difficult to pinpoint, fast enough in qualifying to suggest the potential was genuine but unable to deliver it with the repeatability that elimination rounds require. The 4-wide nationals at Charlotte provided the first meaningful turning point, a final round appearance that moved him from 10th to 8th and gave the Peak squad its first championship round result of the year. Route 66 in Chicago then produced his 34th career number 1 qualifying position, and the team began describing the correction in confident terms. "We have our hot rod back," Beckman said, and through consecutive number 1 qualifiers at Chicago and Maryland, the evidence was starting to support it. The Potomac Nationals was the event that made the NHRA community genuinely reconsider where Beckman stood in the 2026 funny car field. He earned his 35th career number 1 qualifier, then defeated Vandergriff in the semis with a 3.923 at 328.22 miles per hour, the low elapsed time and top speed of the entire Maryland weekend. "I think we found a smoking gun with our inconsistencies," he said. "Now we know what we're capable of." At Epping, Beckman advanced through Phil Burkhart, Matt Hagan, and Ron Capps to reach the funny car final against JFR teammate Jordan Vandergriff. Then the New England weather intervened. Rain washed out both Nitro Championship rounds entirely, forcing NHRA officials to move the Top Fuel and funny car finals nearly 900 miles south to Bristol Dragway, to be contested during Friday qualifying for the Thunder Valley Nationals. The Wally was waiting. It just needed different geography. The postponed New England Nationals funny car final was run during Q2 on Friday evening at Bristol, and Beckman collected the win over Vandergriff, his first national event victory of 2026 and his 38th career funny car win. The execution was clean, the car was competitive, and the result delivered exactly what the previous 3 events had been building toward since the team identified what they were calling the smoking gun of their inconsistency issues. "We're coming off a final round at Maryland, right back in another final round at Epping," Beckman had said heading into Bristol. "We've yet to win this year, and we're certainly overdue." The rumors that had circulated through the first half of the season, about whether the Peak squad had genuinely corrected its problems or was simply running temporary peaks, were answered on a Friday night before Thunder Valley had even started. The overdue bill was paid in full. The Epping win moved Beckman inside the top 6 in the funny car standings at 511 points, with Ron Capps leading at 617, J.R. Todd second at 602, and Vandergriff third at 588. The gap to the top of the championship picture was now measured in events rather than seasons, a dramatically different position than the 10th place standing the calendar had assigned him after Phoenix. Thunder Valley offered something beyond the Epping momentum, a Mission Foods Challenge position earned from his semi-finals run, a track he had never won at, and the rare opportunity for multiple trophies across a single weekend. "The negative is I don't have any wins there and I'd sure like to change that," Beckman said of Bristol before the weekend. The Epping Trophy had already arrived. Thunder Valley was the next target on a schedule that suddenly looked very different from how it had appeared through the first 7 events of the season. John Force Racing entered 2026 with rebuilt depth, Beckman as the senior driver, Vandergriff carrying championship momentum, DeJoria bringing experience, and the Peak squad carrying decades of organizational pedigree. The expectation was front-running results from the opening race. The reality through 6 events was more complicated. What the Eastern Swing ultimately delivered was the version of JFR the preseason had anticipated. Vandergriff winning Potomac, Beckman claiming Epping, 2 teammates meeting in a final the weather deferred but the results confirmed. For a driver who has now extended his streak to 19 consecutive seasons with at least 1 final round appearance, the Epping win re-established an identity the early season inconsistencies had temporarily obscured. The question that opened this script, is something changing for Jack Beckman at JFR, has received its answer. The The more relevant conversation now is not whether the change has happened. It is how far it carries him before the season reaches its conclusion.